What up, though? Your boy, Urban Historian. So, this is a book I came across. An introduction to the study of man and civilization. Right away, you see words like Ethiopians, which you see is an AE, which tells you history has already changed from this spelling to the modern spelling of Ethiopians, which at the time was actually called Abyssinia. So when they were calling people Ethiopians, it's just like them calling you African American, but you're not from Africa. So they're referring to people in that manner because of their coal black, as you see here. But this book was pretty interesting. It does discuss the caste systems. So this is like an 1800 book. So going back to the times when they started this shit, they were pretty much telling you what's going down, right? And nowadays, they disguise these things under, our census in terms of skin tone. But if you actually pay attention to your census and read it, the North African, regardless of skin tone, as I've stated plenty of times, I'm sure y'all have heard it before, is actually classified as white. And Arabs are actually white in America, which is, so leads to question, what this whole Muslim Christian war is about, right? Right here, you'll see the African Negro displayed. So you notice how they're tagging African to that name. Why? Because there's Negroes of other areas. This one, let's look at this. So this is a West African Negro. Okay. No, this is in the 1800s, mind you. They've carted Aboriginal Americans into that area. So, from 1492 to 1800 gives you plenty of time to intermix. So you can almost see similar kind of phenotypes in this picture. Let's see. Negro West African, Borrolong, South Africa, a Hottentot is figure C. A, B, C, this is the Hottentot right here. G, English, right? By all means. They see this here is a Colorado Indian. So you'll find, obviously, they were even breaking down Native American tribes in America because these are different races of people in the United States. Not all just Mongol Indians. As you'll see here, it talks about Mongolian race. As you know, they're indicating these Mongoloids traveled here over the Bering Strait. Approximately, 20,000, maybe 15,000 years ago? Given that, you will know the Corral period, or the Corral pyramids in Peru were built around that time. So as they were migrating in, there's already like established civilizations, like cities here and shit, you know what I'm saying? So these people that they're calling Native Americans were not the original natives. Those original natives, right there. Although this guy I don't believe to be the Aboriginal American, as it notes here, is the Swahili. But knowing that, if you want to do your own research, as you'll see here, as it talks about the Australian, that many scholars are indicating the people that first inhabited America had traveled here from places like Melanesia. It's called Melanesia for a reason. The heavily populated area or island area of melanated people, although we all have different levels of it. It's just a good way to identify what black race you belong to, essentially. Skull types, Samoyed, I assume is a Samoan type. So I'm just gonna skim through this. I encourage you to pick up and read this book yourself. The African Negro is remarkable for the length of arm and a Myra Indian. Now, this might be a comparison amongst black races here. So I thought I'd just kind of show you that. And to show you some of the bookmarks I've added recently. Now, one thing I did want to discuss is I've talked about migrations from Mesopotamia. Now, you look at this girl. If you ran into her in the streets of Los Angeles, maybe you think she's actually an East Indian. But as you can see, she does have a resemblance to what you call an African American. And here's the funny part. Guess what they call them in India now? Black Indians. But they are the actual natives to India. The Dalits, right? She's talking about growing up in Southern California. Tamil, definitely something you should learn about. And understand why they call the people here Indians, because all those black Indians in East India look like the people here. So this actually breaks down the caste system in India, and the funny part being, caste exists wherever Indians exist, and it manifests itself in a myriad of ways. The Indian diaspora thrives on the caste, etc., etc. And the face of xenophobia and racism abroad, many become more fundamentalist in their traditions, and caste is part of a reactionary package. So, what does caste look like in the United States? Right here, she states it's similar, right? She's had that experience. Quite like India, immediately. Oh, where is your family from? Oh, they, what does it say? She's talking about how people are asking where they're from. When aunties begin to discuss marriage, they cluck their tongue softly and remark about your complexion. So all of this caste shit has come over with the Europeans, and if you read history, you'll understand the Aryan people are the ones that have mixed in with these Dalit or native East Indian populations. And this is why you'll find Hitler using Hindu-esque kind of symbolism, like the Black Star, or what we know as the swastika, because he understood history more than you do. That whole blonde hair, blue eye shit is just a way to demonizing him. And I'm not trying to condone what he's done, but as an example, the Russians killed off way more Jews than Germany did, right? So with that said, Hitler, he knew a lot about history. And there's a bunch of rumors and stuff. I've actually verified some of the information. One thing I like to point out is that he made it very notable that the Jew himself, as we know today, resembled more of a Gentile. So why would Hitler say, hey, these Jews look like Gentiles? Why? Because it's not what Hebrews look like. They do not look like the Jew you see. And we all know Judaism is a religion. It's not an ethnicity. Anyone can be Jewish, sir. So if you want to convert, you might be able to take advantage of their reparations that they've pretty much just kind of swindled out of Germany. Really, I'm not here to downplay anyone Jewish. Matter of fact, a lot of Orthodox Jews actually don't believe in Israel. A lot of Jews, they read their Bible or their Torah, and you find this state is not supposed to be here, because until all 12 tribes are united, there was no promised state, and that's not to be until the end of the world, essentially. Like, given that, when you hear the word Jew, this refers to Judah. So they're saying they're the tribe of Judah, but where is Dan and the rest of the tribes, right? Not to mention the ethnic Hebrews that are moving in from Africa to Israel are now being discriminated against in their country. So, I mean, I have little sympathy or empathy for what has gone on. I mean, if your family was directly affected by that, my apologies, but these things definitely need to be brought to light, because the truth is what is important here. This isn't some attempt to be racist or anything, but by all means, if you want to call me an anti-Semite, and you guys have gotten your reparations, my black-skinned people endured way more of a Holocaust, and we still continue to be, slaughtered, and nobody in the world gives a fuck. But the funny part being, in the Bible, it points out the actual Hebrew nation would undergo similar things. So we begin to take walks through history. We find out who the real Hebrew is. So I want you to check out this article. Probably take some of these words and punch into Google. You'll find it. What's this? Let's look at this. So this talks about the coolies. So this is probably when I was just kind of linking India to West India. And as you know, these are people that were brought here to be enslaved too. But look at these Negroes over here. Are you actually maybe a coolie? An East Indian? Do you know if you're actually from Africa? Because these motherfuckers right here, darker than me. Which is funny too, because I have a cousin named Cooley, spelled as such. So one thing interesting to note is the influence of the Coolie culture in Jamaica as an example, which is where you'll find things like Jamaican curry. So the history of the world is more intertwined than some European basically crawling out of a cave and discovering there's more than just Europe. Sorry to say. So this is a very interesting article that talks about coolies. You'll notice every time they start showing images in a modern sense, they whiten it up because they want you to start figuring out why all these people are black. Like, why? Who are these people? They don't want you to know who these people are, so they make them look like this. You look at the Jamaican crest from, 1800s back. The crest itself had someone that would probably resemble more of this color. And really, this little girl looks like one of my little cousins or nieces. But you'll notice nowadays that Jamaican crest is way lighter than it was. You see more lightning. And they did this in Russia. Everywhere you go, they've done this. Look at this. Look at that. These folks have different hair textures in some cases. Hers might be more nappy. But if you read history, you'll find out that these Dravidians were intermixed with Caucasians. That's why they developed these Caucasoid features. So look at these little black boys. I mean, I've already discussed little black Sambo. So let's move into something else here. Tuareg woman. Let's see, where is this lady from? Well, this is the Tuareg woman. You notice the reddish tint, right? Copper. So I guess this is just kind of a general. This, I believe she is actually in India too. No, or perhaps, I think somewhere in Cambodia potentially. Somewhere near the Far East as we know it today. But, America was actually the Far East, and they knew it was here. It was called the Third India, which is why Columbus was traveling to find Prester John, the Emperor of the Three Indies. Do more history on Prester John, you understand he's a Grand Khan, right? And he adopted Genghis Khan. So guess what? That's how Genghis Khan found the Americas. This is where all the Mongol migrations happen. But you don't hear me though. You're not gonna read any of this stuff. You might look at my video and hit the unlike button because you're upset with me for telling you the truth. But look at this lady. She's an Australian, right? These are the Aborigines of Australia. But you'll notice the phenotype. She would honestly look like one of my cousins. Her nose and lip structure are actually similar to my mother's. These phenotypes are not all the same amongst people with this skin tone. Let's look at this. This was interesting. A lot of this stuff, I mean, there may be sources in here, but it's not it's not primary source, so I'm not gonna base anything off of it. Although there's great information here that I'm sure you can pull and find the primary sources on. That's an interesting. More stuff on the Black Dalits, Asian American Writers Workshop. Let's see what this is about. Computer slow. Angkor, but I mean, since we're on Angkor right there, if you look at all those temples and stuff in Angkor Wat, they look exactly what you're gonna find like what you find in Mexico. Okay. Seems like whatever that site is, probably got taken down. Let's Google and the internet for you. They don't want this real information getting into your hands. Let's follow this one. This one, the Black American suing to reclaim her native identity. Look. Look, you guys thought I was bullshitting you, right? But look, right here, look at her. I want you to take a good look at the phenotype, right? She is saying, look, I'm not African, okay? You're not gonna label me just because I look like something that comes from Africa, right? I'm gonna take back my identity so you don't take my land from me, right? The government actually tricked all these native tribes to pretty much exclude anyone that was darker colored from their tribes by all means. To the point, I mean, that's just a Europeanization of the Native American. On top of that, I mean, they forced you guys or tricked you into signing these treaties. And really, I mean, I love my native people, but a lot of y'all motherfuckers got brainwashed into being racist too. I've rolled through reservations, got some pretty interesting looks, and had some pretty racist things said to me, by all means. I'm not gonna fault them. That's just the brainwashing from the European. And really, I encourage my Mongolian heritage natives to wake your people up. Let them know if we're gonna fight this struggle, it's gonna have to be together. Cause if not, I mean, it's gonna be our nation against your nation. You know what I'm saying? And we all know the nation you signed treaties with tricked you into some bullshit. So if y'all don't start reaching out and helping these people become part of your tribes again, or better yet, matter of fact, why don't we just take away this federal bullshit? Why does the government have to be the one to tell you that you're native to this land, huh? So I encourage you to go read this article. It's on theguardian.com. The Black Americans suing to reclaim their native identity. Go find it. Let's see. Negro family tree. This is pretty interesting. I think this guy, I mean, I don't know. Given his video did come out after mine, it just seems like he borrowed some of my information. But then again, all the information that is being presented is something you can certainly find and look up yourself. Now, that was one guy that I had brought up. You know, I've I went through and broke down Oceanic Negro, and by all means, you see this date, February 20th, 2018. So I just encourage y'all, give credit where credit's due. If you found anything on my page. Otherwise, I'm glad that this gentleman found this information as well and is sharing it with you. So check out the gentleman's site, Gula Culture Conservancies, which is funny if you understand the Gulas. It's a native tribe, which is something that I'd like to bring up too. Given back in the day, there were names like Creole or what was it? Oh, Pickaninny by all means, but I can't think of the Geechee. These were names of tribes. You don't hear those names anymore. Why? Because it's all been washed away, renamed, and given titles like African American. So if you want to check out his channel, feel free. Definitely interesting. Let's see what this is. Legal codes and courts for slaves. This is pretty interesting. This goes into education of slaves. Slaves may not, it's talking about what you cannot do. So everybody, I want to be like, get over it. Go read this book and find out what date it's from, because I imagine it wasn't too long ago. So how the fuck am I going to get over some shit that happened yesterday, you bitch ass niggas? Okay. So I'll check out all of these links. Now, if you need to find them, feel free to contact me. I did go through kind of quick. Let me check out this last one here and I'll let y'all go. This was an interesting one. I think this one discusses like native Haitians. And he goes into how some scholars are baffled by the presence of black people in that area. So all they would do is assume that these people were intermixed with slaves and shit, right? But this author states that is not the case. And a bunch of racist people are just reaching for something to tie in to the color of people in this area, right? So I encourage you to check that out. A lot of people in Haiti actually know their history. For all Haitians to valorize the African heritage. I mean, you look at voodoo, that's not an African thing. So I'm gonna let y'all go though. What's this? Peasants walking around the Gosling River, Murray Valley. Let's see, Melville, Haiti. I'm exceedingly interested in cultural connections between the African and the American Negroes. Wow, why is he looking for cultural connections between Africans and American Negroes? Notice the distinguishment there. And I am planning to spend next summer among the Bush Negroes of Suriname. See all these different types of Negroes, motherfucker. Pay attention. Peace out.